All right, we're recording. So, Nicole, what did you think of the video I sent you?
I was very impressed. I could definitely see your growth. Um, you have a couple of fours, my love,
Yes.
and you have some threes.
Okay. Did I have
You
any twos?
only one.
Which one?
Accommodations and assessments.
I know that one was so tough for me. I didn't know how to do it.
So it is tough,
Yeah,
especially since your whole class is English language, like
exactly.
ELL. So it's like, what? So what I put in the evaluation kind of goes back to, I guess, some resources or some things that I had mentioned to you before.
Okay.
Because they are ELLs, you always want to think of reading the language, speaking the language, and writing the language.
Okay.
So, how could we have accommodate them writing?
Writing,
Pushing, go ahead.
oh, I'm just saying, it would have been easier to implement the idea that you would give me earlier where they basically just have the scratch paper in front of them and then they write down their words. I'm always hesitant to do that though, just because I know it's useful in class, but because
Mm-hmm.
of their homework, they are
Mm-hmm.
always writing, and during class they are always writing. I hate to push more on them, but I see the value of it. So maybe I'll try and cut their homework and have them do more writing in class.
So, I actually said use a graphic organizer. And it could
Ah,
be something and it could be something like an exit ticket, you know what I mean? So I completely understand like the, oh my gosh, they're writing, and I don't want to push them if I know that they're doing it for homework. But
yeah.
how can you give them like a graphic organizer where I believe the Freyer model, and I can email this to you, but like in this particular lesson, they were still doing the parts of speech. They still kind of had like vocabulary words and stuff that they had to spell.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Freyer model, it gives them the word in the middle. So it might be something that you might already have written out. Some
Okay.
parts you may have written out. So you can have the word in the middle. You might have a box that has a definition.
Okay.
Another box should be where they could write their sentences using the word.
Okay.
Maybe another box going into the parts of speech. I love how you have them doing triangle if it's one thing, square if it's another, circle if it's another. And then the last box could be them drawing a picture of it.
Okay.
So,
I actually pulled up
so,
the FAIR model just after you said that, and I see exactly what you're saying.
so you see how it's already kind of in a graphic organizer.
Yeah.
There could be some things that you already have on that organizer already pre-made for them,
Okay.
and then you're just asking them to add to it. Um, and it could be something that's done as an exit ticket. It could be something that's done in the midst of it. It could be something that is modeled, meaning maybe one student goes up to the board um, and adds their things to, you know what I'm saying, to the boxes and things of that nature. It could be done something like that, where it's whole class instruction. Or if you want them to do individually, they can do it individually as well.
Okay, so I wouldn't do this for every single word though, but I would do this as more of not quite a formative assessment, but like yeah, actually yeah, the exit would be a formative assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the problem is I can't rewrite their curriculum because this is one of those few things that I absolutely have to do.
Mhm.
And I get weird on time. So the more material I enter, the less I can do each day. We're actually really far behind right now just because the kids can't go any faster. But
Mhm.
if I use this as like a testing tool after the fact, maybe in
Mhm.
a different class or at the end of the class, then it could be a little bit more effective. I don't know. Where would I implement it? I guess is where I'm trying to figure out.
So if you said that you guys are already behind,
Yeah.
right? Um, Behind in terms of where they are with the language and behind towards like what do you mean by behind?
So this is a book we have, okay, they're divided into sections: seed, bed, seed, bed, and seed, and then the seed is divided into sections, and then basically all the different sections have books. We're supposed to cover two different books, like a reading book and a practice book, once every month. How it's scheduled that way because they order, like the parents have to buy all the books, and they buy them in bulk at the beginning of the year. Everyone gets real crabby when I send home books, just they're not done. So we're supposed to get through at least one of those sets per month. Um,
Okay.
in that set, we're supposed to be on, like how it was in the older books. That was easier, that they could get done faster. We did 2 units per week. Now we're at 1 unit per week, and we're trailing. And I've got to unfortunately cut it somewhere
Okay.
because they're just struggling, and I'm struggling, and everyone.
So I would say maybe I don't know how in depth some of these units are, but maybe the Freyer model could be something that could be towards the end of the unit.
Okay.
And it could be something whereas maybe the skills that are introduced in the second unit, you're already kind of given as a pretest to see where they are for that next unit. So in using the graphic organizer, it could be some things that you're testing them on,
Okay.
whether it's spelling, whether it's parts of speech, that type of thing.
Okay.
And then let's say conjugation of terms might be in the next unit, maybe kind of alluding to that on that graphic organizer to
Hmm.
prepare them for unit 2 to help you speed up some things. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
yeah. It sounds tricky to implement, but I think it would be really helpful for them. Actually, it's
Hmm.
not even tricky to implement. It's just like a lot of prep work.
Yeah, yeah. That's like honestly, um, when you do the hard work up front and you put the time in up front,
Yeah.
the rest of the time will kind of smooth out and
Okay.
kind of faster.
I like that.
I did want to commend you.
Okay.
Um,
I like commendations.
so feedback. What do you think I'm going to say?
Feedback candidate provides of students. Oh, that one I'm pretty sure I killed it. I'm effective. Yeah.
You you smashed it. I'm talking about like World Series out the park.
Yes.
Um,
Good.
there were so many examples that I could pull from. You said, Evan, fantastic job. You were listening and thinking very hard. You said, very good sentence. Thank you, Amelia. And I don't think you realized, but every time that you praised a child, that just reinforced the expectations of what you were looking for. And you circled back when the student did not get the answer right. And I was super excited and kind of like jumping up and down. You gave them the vocabulary word, or the word was Angela.
Okay.
And not understanding that Angela is a name,
Mhm.
right? So you were kind of scaffolding, you kind of was pushing the thinking, and they still weren't getting it. Um, so once you told them that it was a name, it's like, oh, okay, but you did not end it there.
Mhm.
You gave a new name, a name that they could identify, where they could still show you that they understood what a noun was. And I was like, that's a teacher right there. You better do it, Roy. It was awesome. So that was exciting.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes, I was very proud of you. This lesson here really was showing me that like wow, like Roy is growing. You went from like 1.8 to 2 point somethings to like this is clearly a 3. Like you just 3 something.
Okay.
You had that one part that was accommodations that obviously is a little
Yeah.
difficult. Um, however, like when it came to assessments, like you were spot on. You made the changes in the moment. You asked the questions, you pushed their thinking, you asked why for them to explain their reasoning. And a lot of times, we think that kindergartens can't handle that, but you definitely made them speak up to why things what they thought they were, and I was very proud of you. Very proud
Ah,
of you.
I am so glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you. Obviously the one suggestion you gave me a few weeks ago about the that how I give them feedback obviously resonated, and since then that's been one of the most useful tools I've had in the classroom.
Awesome, awesome. Have you personally noticed any changes, like in any kids specifically, or?
Um, Well, I don't want to talk to you about Eric again, but that we'll do that in a few minutes. Personality-wise, just from the additional feedback, yes, it's actually just surprisingly more in their manners that I've noticed the biggest changes. Like they've always been a really hardworking group, and I've loved that about my kids. But I've also started using it as a behavioral model as well, and that's where they've really started to shine. It's like, oh, Amelia, you're doing such a good job walking in line, while the rest of them are just screwing around. They'll
Mhm.
all immediately hop to, and I've had to remind them less and less and less because they've had that enforcement. So
Good. Good.
I've noticed definitely it's working 100%.
Awesome. Okay. Okay.
Um, I actually, when we're done with this, I'm going to stop recording, and I wanted to ask you a few questions about Eric that I'm kind of starting to get really hesitant on, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So did you have any more comments about the lesson?
No, where your alignment of assessments, you got a 3.
Okay.
I am still kind of writing that since I just got that information,
Oh yeah.
but it was clearly aligned to the assessment. I mean,
Cool.
like you clearly understood the behaviors you were looking for,
Mm,
um, as far as to if that objective was mastered. So um, you did well in that. So yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, and then that wasn't there the other one. Feedback, effective use of assessment. Um, that was a kind of a tricky one for me, to be honest, to demonstrate more than anything else.
Okay.
Um, I think trying to think back now because I did the lesson, and I think I did pretty well on that. If I had to take a stab in the dark, we
Mhm.
had lots of pictures, we had lots of writing, we used a lot of audio, so it kind of
Mhm.
was a overreaching thing. But I wasn't exactly sure how to demonstrate that one.
So what do you think I would have said would have been the difference between a 3 and a 4? You received a 3.
Okay,
Um, but what do you think would have been the difference between 3 or 4? Think
it's a
about again what I said, like your students should be doing. 3 things that your students should be kind of focusing on.
reading, writing, and saying.
Mhm.
Um,
What
s-
didn't they do?
they didn't write. Well,
Mhm.
well, hold on, that lesson. That was sorry, I got two lessons here. Was it the workbook lesson or the gallery book lesson?
It was more gallery books. So
Okay.
this group in that particular feedback, I said, Evan was called on a lot during the lesson,
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure if that was on purpose or if that was kind of like it just spurred the moment type of thing. But I said, who is answering the questions, whole group versus single voice. So like, are you using Evan because you're not hearing Evan in the whole group, or are you choosing Evan because Evan is off task? Like, what was the instructional purpose for choosing Evan instead of
Um.
like choosing other people? And then the other
Mhm.
piece to that was allowing them again to physically write their sentences. So you had them kind of verbalize their sentences and just giving them a quick time to kind of write those down. They did a great job spelling for you, but again, just giving them a quick chance to actually writing it down would have been another effective use of assessment.
Okay. Um. To answer the first one, Evan, I glanced at my phone at the very beginning of the lesson. I always try to look at it at least once. It's got all their test scores on it, and I categorize it. Evan has, in this last few tests, has been really struggling with a few subjects. So
Hmm.
I kind of hated to do it, but I put Evan on blast so that way he would really show me what he knows because I don't think he doesn't understand the materials. I just don't think he's a good test taker.
Gotcha.
So I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that that was what was going on. So now that I know that, he's going to be getting a little bit of a tweaking during his testing, and I'm going to make sure to pay attention a bit more, maybe add some additional pictures. I'm still
Mhm.
trying to figure out exactly what would help him, but yeah, now I know what's going on. And then the second part, yeah, this lesson I 100% agree. They didn't do a lot of writing this lesson. They in their workbook they write their own sentences. They do all of it, but it's not a consistent thing.
Gotcha.
It's like one day they do a lot of reading, and then the next 2 days is a lot of writing after that. So this
Okay.
just happened to be a reading day. So you're 100% right.